Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to our Waterville Public Schools Town Hall virtual Town Hall meeting. Appreciate you taking time to come and enter the chat room here and give us an opportunity maybe to answer some of your questions and to give you some insight on what we're going to be doing here in the next few weeks. Before we get started on that, before we start with questions, I just want to put out a brief statement. I will be allowing some people to come into the meeting as we go, so that as new people come in, I want to make sure I can admit them as we come along. So if I look like I'm casting my eyes to the side of the screen, it's because new folks are coming into the meeting, and I want to make sure that I let them in. So thank you for being a part of this and for giving us a chance to share some information with you. So right now, I want to start just with, like I said, with a brief statement. So for the last 3 weeks, we've had kind of an unprecedented set of challenges to our nation, our state, our community, beyond the beyond the closing of just our school. Actually, I'm going to hold off just a minute because we got a whole bunch of people coming in right now. So just bear with me and let me get them in, and then I'll start all over again. So. Okay. Once again, folks, thanks for coming in. I think we've got a few participants in the meeting now. So I'm going to start with my presentation. This should take just a couple of minutes, and then we'll open the floor up to questions. Want to ask questions through the chat feature. So just type your message in there. That chat feature is at the bottom of the page. It looks like a little comment box. Go ahead and click and make sure that that's turned on. If it's off, it's got a dash through it. You'll see the chat. You'll see the chat pop up in your screen. So you have an opportunity to type at the bottom of that if you have a question. So the last 3 weeks have brought an unprecedented set of challenges to our nation, to our state, to our community. Beyond the closing of our schools, our community faces challenges of disease, of scarcity of food, economic hardship, all of which exacerbate an already disadvantaged situation for many of our people in our community. Many of us are dealing with our own effects of the damages of the outbreak. Friends and families, family members of our own team here at the school have been or are suffering from the virus. Parents parents of students in our community have contracted the virus. At least one member of our own Panther family, one family member, I'm sorry, of our own Panther staff has died. Many dozens of students have parents who've lost jobs, lost their income. Compounding all of that, our families and our schools are no longer available to help them take care of their children. But I know that our community is looking for help, and they're looking to the school for answers and for support. There's one thing, though, that I've learned in my brief time here at Waterville. It's that our Panther team is fantastic. I've witnessed many of them step up, not just our school people, but our community people as well. Step up, step out, make a huge difference, not just in this crisis, but as a matter of their daily calling. So I really couldn't be more proud of them. I'm just humbled and in awe of them. Really, from day one of the crisis, when we first shut the schools down, We've been working hard to provide emotional support, maintain relationships with kids, manage and deliver food, build on learning experiences that already started before the school year ended, try and keep our students engaged, to make referrals for assistance and develop plans, whatever it takes. That's what we're about here. And we want to make sure we rise to the occasion. But really, we're just getting started. The governor's executive order last Thursday closed our school buildings for in-person instruction for the remainder of the 2019 school year. It also laid out a series of steps that we have to take in order to continue our mission to support our students. So while we closed our buildings, we didn't close our schools. First of all, we're going to continue offering the food service we have to all our students in the same way, all the way into summer and into summer as well. Our food service and transportation personnel, they've carried this burden out admirably to this point. We will be bringing other people into the effort as well. 9 sites all over this, well, 8 sites now, because we did move out at Pleasant View Estates. We moved just to the front site, but 8 different sites across the district. And we're trying to make sure that we get as many kids as we can every day. We've delivered, I found out today, about 25,000 meals to our community in 3 weeks. So that's a pretty good start. Secondly, we're going to continue to provide emotional and mental health support for all of our students and for their families, from direct services to referrals. We're going to be diligent in seeking out people who need help and trying to connect them with services and things that can help them, whatever is needed. Finally, we'll need to transform our education system from one that delivers face-to-face instruction in our buildings to one that delivers remote learning opportunities for kids, remote learning activities to kids, while still providing individual interventions, accommodations, and support for students that need it. Late last week, the Department of Education released a template for what's going to be known as our school's continuity of learning plan. The administrative team has been preparing for this really since before the first closure. We had, we kind of had a heads up that things were getting bad. We began immediately starting the process of getting our act together and making plans to to prepare for the time when we may have a school closure. Our principals have been meeting with teachers, have been meeting with each other. We've been reaching out to other professionals and experts all around the state and around the nation to build a framework for the design and development of our own response to this challenge. We're very confident that we're well positioned to provide the support our community will need, that our staff will need, and that our students will need to make this plan work for our community. And we're never going to be perfect, but we're not going to be deterred in our quest to do the very best we can for our students and for our staff and for our community. There's already been a foundation of work that's been laid in place by our teachers, our principals, and our support staff. We've already been reaching out to kids. We've already developed some parts of the framework that you're going to see as we move forward. Our plan will expand and build on what's already been developed, and we'll seek to bring in additional resources, whatever we can, to help make this work better. But no amount of technology, no amount of websites or anything else is going to be as important as the effort and engagement of our teachers, our support staff, our administrative team, and the cooperation of our families, and flexibility and patience. That's really going to be important. It's going to be more important now than ever. So at the elementary level, we plan to continue working off the choice boards that have already been made to date. We're going to be working on a common assessment protocol that's going to be used across the board. And we will be working with our teachers on developing best practices and in remote learning. We've already developed a sort of a checklist of things to do. Our instructional leadership team will be working on that tomorrow, and we'll be putting together the professional development necessary for our staff to get prepared for that. So whatever the best practices are, we want to make sure we reach as many kids as possible. At the secondary level, we're going to leverage to the best degree we can practices of blended learning, online learning, and integrating mobile technology with paper pencil work in order to get learning opportunities into the hands of our students. We will need to seek more resources. We've been working on getting pricing and timelines and so on for that, but we are going to need to bring in some more resources to pull that off. And in the meantime, we will be working with blended activities, paper, pencil, mail, email, whatever we can to get the information to kids. And our administrative team is going to be fully geared up into supporting our staff as they do this work. We're all in on this. So we will begin this process of fleshing out, or putting some flesh on the plan with our teachers on April 14th. We will be planning to go live with this new instructional model on April 20th. So we are on spring break now, and so our staff members are taking advantage of that. We're giving the students a break as well, but we are still continuing with the food service program through Thursday. On Thursday, the team will be delivering 5 meals, 5 breakfasts, and 5 lunches to students so that they can have food through the long weekend and through Monday. And then we will begin that food service back up again on Tuesday, the 14th. So, starting April 14th, we're going to do what we've always tried to do best, and that's serve our Panther community. That's really all that I've got in terms of sort of the prologue. At this point, if you have questions, you're certainly welcome to type them in the chat box that's at the bottom of your screen, and I'll do my best to answer them. I'm seeing some faces in the screen. Is there anybody that's not able to see? If you can just sort of nod, shake your head right, left, if you're not able to see the chat box. I do have a question here from Anna. For parents who have juniors or seniors attending the Van Buren Tech Center, please check the website for resources. Anna is the counselor there. They're also meeting over the weekend and next week to plan and deliver updated program for instruction. So please reach out if you have any questions to Anna over at Van Buren Tech Center. They've done a wonderful job. We've been able to coordinate things with them, but they've got a great program and they've got great people there. And I know they're going to put together a great plan for their school as well. Michelle asked what will happen with Math Science Center students. So obviously the in-person instruction is stopped there as well. We have reached out to I personally reached out to the Math Science Center to see what their plans were and how they could integrate with ours. I have not heard back from them yet, but I anticipate that we will certainly early next week at the latest. So that will still give us another week to kind of pull that together. A lot of this is still, in progress or under development, especially with our outside agencies. And so we're still in the process of pulling that together, but I do anticipate something will be coming from the Math Science Center. Same thing with our folks that are doing, our kids that are involved in dual enrollment and the early middle college program. If they have not already been contacted by their professor, they will be very soon. The plan is to finish those courses. I talked with Mr. Kabatsky personally last week, and the plan is to make sure that that all students have an opportunity to complete their college courses at Lake Michigan College, and I can assume as well Southwestern Michigan College for those that are connected in programs there at the Tech Center. Appreciate the thanks, Ms. Burkhart, and Michelle. We're doing our best to try and communicate the best we can. Please see our websites. We have links all over the place. A lot of them point to some of the same resources for sure, but we're just trying to get it out the best we can in whatever communication vector is available to us, so that folks have an opportunity to stay connected. It is difficult to today's very asynchronous communication network that's available. So we're trying to tap into as many different resources as we can. So what other questions might there be? Is there a way that we can do a call to all the parents about the food service located at 8 places? So Tina, I think that's a great question, and I'm going to write that down, because what I think I can do is we have that posted on our website, on the Facebook page, on various different places. But what I can do is I can send that out via school messenger again. I sent it out, but it's been almost 3 weeks since I sent it out the first time. So I appreciate the heads up on that. I'm going to send that out again via school messenger, and that I'll send it out on the email, and then maybe I'll translate it to text as well and send it out on the phone so that we can try and reach as many people as we can. So one thing I did want to say while I got a chance, we're waiting for a question. Seniors are going to have, obviously this is impacting seniors in a very strange way. I mean, it's unbelievable that they get to this point and then have this whole thing blow up like this. It's just crazy. But we will, to the very best of our ability, try to keep this as normal as we possibly can. One thing that I stated in the video that I posted on the Facebook page and website on Sunday, on Saturday, the seniors that were ready to graduate, that had all their credits and were passing all their classes, and weren't behind in any way. Those kids, for the most part, are done. Now, if they have a dual enrollment class or a tech center class, that's a different gig. But with us, they're for the most part done. We're not, we don't want to try and put anything in the way of kids that are essentially ready to go. Kids that were failing classes that they needed for graduation, they will be given they'll be given a plan for completion, give them an opportunity to demonstrate their understanding of the key concepts that remained or that they needed to master before we could say they've got enough of the content to earn the credit. But that will be done on an individual basis, teacher by teacher, kid by kid, so that they have an opportunity to graduate on time. So that'll take care of the vast majority of our seniors. The ones that were not on track to graduate, I know Mrs. Dawson has already been reaching out to some of them to talk about ways that we can provide an opportunity for them via virtual school, via maybe transfer into way or something like that for them to move closer to graduation and try to catch up with their peers. But that's just a handful of kids. For the most part, our kids were either ready to graduate, they had their credits, they met their merit requirements, they were just finishing the courses that they were involved in, and most of them were passing those classes. So they're going to be given the grade that was there on March 11th. Kids that were failing courses that they needed for graduation, they're going to be given a plan for completion. And as soon as they've met that plan, they're going to be considered graduated. If they are, again, if they're behind, we'll work with them individually. As far as like senior awards and other awards ceremonies, I know the high school staff and Mrs. Toothman have been working on a plan. I actually saw a rough draft of it the other day, a plan for having some activities in May, virtual activities where they can do awards nights, where they can do, try to gather virtually and be able to connect and do some of those things. We're not going to be able to replicate prom or anything like that, but we're going to do our best to have some opportunities for them to collaborate virtually and to honor, so that we can honor their successes. And obviously, as far as graduation is concerned, we are looking to have a graduation ceremony, hopefully, by the time, before summer's gone. Obviously, if we get into August, late August, going to be hard to pull those kids back together because they're going to disappear into their new lives, into their adult lives. They're going to be off to the military or moving to Texas for a job or into their college or whatever. And we're not going to be able to get every kid back, but we will do something, and we will try to make it as, as celebratory as we possibly can. So I have another question from Nancy. She said the athletic department is still planning on awarding all of the usual senior athletic awards, such as senior plaques, to anyone who's earned them. So we will find a way to get those awards in their hands. None of this is going to go away. As you know, the MHSAA canceled the season, the spring season and the winter season. Of course, yeah, obviously that was going to happen, but so there won't be any championships, but we will make sure we take take the opportunity to give kids the awards that they have earned. Heather asked about what are our thoughts about the start date of next school year. So a lot of that depends, I think, on what kind of data we get back from kids. Obviously, I've been working with WEA leadership. We'd had a couple of conversations about calendar. The Barry and Risa applied for and received a waiver so that we could do pre-Labor Day start if we wanted to. That was, I think there were some districts that in the county that were ready to go and some districts that were not. And some of them that were somewhat ambivalent. Whichever way you go, we'll get on board. Of course, the key is two things. One, how does the rest of the county feel about it? We have a lot of shared time programs that our kids go to that, where we send kids to other schools, where they begin when most of the schools begin. And that's why you have to coordinate your county programs in order to you got to coordinate your start date anyway for the counties, because you want to have these programs line up. So a lot of it depends on what other districts do in terms of what we might do. Of course, it's negotiated at the local level, but what we don't want to do, and I'm sure that all of our folks feel the same way, we don't want to take opportunities away from kids. We don't want to put our kids in a position where they're disadvantaged. So that's certainly one part. How do we interface with other county programs when they're going to start? The second thing is, we're talking about, instead of the summer slide being, June, July, August, now it's March, April, May, June, July, August, right? So it's twice as long. And we talk about summer slide, I don't want to be too jargony, but what that really is referring to is, learning loss that occurs as a result of having that 3-month layover in the summer. This is, there's no doubt that it happens. The data, the research on this is abundantly clear that students they lose learning over the summer. And students that come from disadvantaged backgrounds lose more. They lose the most. And so, because they just don't have the same level of experiences. And so in our community where 7 out of 10 of our kids are on free and reduced lunch, our kids are particularly at risk for that, we'll call summer slide. We know that it's an issue, and we're going to need to deal with that issue, or at least confront it at some point. We're just not ready to make that decision yet. I think we need a lot more evidence to see what our kids know, how they're holding up, and then, of course, what the other county programs are. I know a couple people have chimed in and said Coloma's already said they're starting before Labor Day. And I believe that they made that decision a couple months ago, and they pulled their staff, and about 75% of their staff said they wanted to go pre-Labor Day. We polled our staff, and about 75% of our staff said they did not want to go pre-Labor Day. We polled our community. It was it was not a scientific poll. It was done in Facebook. It was done through Facebook, and I sent it out in School Messenger. But we still got a couple of hundred responses from it, and the community was much the same way. About 2 out of 3 folks said that they did not want to start before Labor Day, and so we were not planning to go down that road. But this may change our thoughts, at least to open up the conversation again. So, more to come on that. Any other questions that you might have? Is this format helpful for people in terms of getting information out? I'm curious about that myself. Could anybody chime in on the comment section about whether this is helpful, or would you rather see things go out via mail or the Facebook or when we need to get information out quickly? It's one of those things where you can at least get some degree of two-way communication here, even though it's a little challenging. Now, in this particular format, I chose to do this way because Zoom is the platform I used. It's a little bit better, a little bit more open than the Google application. The, the problem with this is right now they've got some security issues. And so I put up a lot of walls in this so that we weren't, you know, we didn't end up getting what they call Zoom bombed right now. I didn't want that to happen. And so that's why we're not talking. If they get some more security, you know, some more security pieces in place, I would like to open this up when we do these kind of meetings a little bit more so that we could communicate. So I would, yeah, I got one here about having it later in the day, and I probably will do that in the future. So I'm recording this one right now, and so I will pop it up on the, you know, on our district webpage. So, you know, so that folks can review it if they want to. Okay. Anybody else have a question that they think they might come by? If, you know, they might need answered, or something that's been. Yeah, so I got, yeah, kindergarten roundup. So kindergarten roundup, I'm not sure when it ends. Honestly, I got to go back and look. It's not at the tip of my tongue. I'm sorry. You know, Carol Fetke has that information. I just don't remember exactly the date. But I do know that if you go onto the district Facebook page or onto the South Elementary Facebook page or on the district website, there's a, in the COVID resources part, there's about 2/3 down the page, there's a link to the kindergarten roundup piece. I know people have been filling that in. Carol is, I had another, if this is about when will we know who's been accepted, I know Carol's working on that right now. I do think they're still allowing applications though. So if it's about signing up, it's still open. If it's about when we're gonna know, I don't think she's done with that yet, because we've been focused on this transition plan right now, and that's taken up a lot of time. We'll get back to that. School of choice window opens up in May. That's our plan still, is to open it in May. And so we will, you know, at that point, we'll just follow our normal process that we do. So we'll announce that through the normal vectors, the school messenger Facebook page, district website, the newspaper, probably put it on the radio that we're open, and direct people to the resource. We're not in the office now to actually hand out paper. That may change at the end of this month, in the middle of next month. We'll just have to see. If we have to slide the school of choice window, we'll do that. We just got to get it done in time to let folks know so they can plan. So thank you, Rachel, for sharing the link. That's appreciated. If anybody needs that information, it's there. And I will be sending stuff out via email, and I appreciate that. I'm going to put you on my list so that you know what's going on here. So. Okay, if I missed a question, please type it again. Otherwise, if we're good to go, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Okay, well, thanks so much for coming out. I appreciate it. I know this is an awkward format. I'd much rather, you know, be up in front of a live audience here, but I do appreciate you taking time to get online and, you know, share whatever questions you were, and listen to me ramble with my speech there. But we'll do this again, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more refined. Okay, folks, thanks a lot, and I appreciate it. Take care. Have a great day.